The Calgary Flames have now won 3 in a row for the second time this season, but can they sustain this kind of momentum?
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I'm your host, Jess, and thank you so much for joining me here today, and I hope you have all had a fantastic week. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Today, we are going to talk about the Flames wrapping up their road trip this weekend with two very early games against Philadelphia and Chicago. And of course, it's Friday, so we have to do winners and losers of the week because there's a big winner this week, and I couldn't be more excited. And I know most of Flames Twitter was too. But before we dive into all that, make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube as well. We're free across the board. So, I mean, what else do you need to subscribe? Congratulations. Let's start things off on a positive note. Congratulations to Elias Lindholm for being named to the 2024 NHL All Star game. That is a very exciting time in a player's career when they finally get named to the All Star team. It's an unsuspecting, unlikely choice, I would say, for the Flames. I think that most people expected it to be Kadri again, or maybe Blake Coleman, or if they really wanted to have fun with it, Connor Zary. But I think Elias Lindholm is that safe choice. I mean, there's only so many players that you can choose from on a team to go and represent. So if he does get picked last in the draft like he is projecting, he does win a car. So maybe he'll get to bring home a new car. We will look forward to that. And the Flames do call up Jan Kuznetsov since Dennis Gilbert is out. He smacked his head on the ice last night against the Nashville Predators after Tomasino slew-footed, collided, whatever you want to call it. And it was a scary scene. You know, we didn't entirely know if he was going to leave the ice on the stretcher because he did not move. And it took quite some time for him to get up. Dubé and Backlund helped him off the ice and immediately went down the tunnel. It is scary and a great reminder to make sure your helmet's on tight. But in better news, you know, Kuznetsov is going to make his NHL debut, and that is super exciting. Always stinks when it comes at the expense of another player, but he'll get to take his rookie lap. Very exciting stuff. I don't know if he'll have family there, but we know that we'll be extra loud on Twitter for him, right? And this is the second time in a week that the Flyers and Flames have met. They met on New Year's Eve. Wow, I can't believe they haven't played each other since last year. And the Flames ended up winning 4-3, and John Tortorella was not happy. He was very upset, and the Flyers are 4-3 in their last 10. And it's something to kind of pride yourself on, I guess, and kind of give you that little extra pep in your step because you did just beat the Flyers, who have been a good team this season. You beat the Wild, who have been a good team this season. You beat Nashville, who is a much better team than they were last season. So these last 3 wins have all been against very good teams, and they're walking a little, taller now. They're standing up a little straighter. They've got something underneath them, and it's not just a fluke because they are playing a lot better. You know, Dan Vladar, he did a good job last night. I will say he did what he needed to do for 90% of the saves. That one save, I believe it was the second goal. That was just a horrible read. But anyways, Jacob Markstrom has been fantastic. In his last 5 games, he has a .930 save percentage, and that is including the brutal loss to Los Angeles. So great. I'm assuming we will see him tomorrow against the Flyers and Vladar on Sunday against Chicago. I don't think Ryan Huska is going to start Markstrom twice in less than 24 hours. That would just be silly and complete mismanagement. I do think that there are some bright spots here because there were a lot of questions heading into the road trip. You can listen to my episode from Tuesday and kind of talk about how certain players are starting to look more like themselves or things are kind of taking shape now. And Andrew Mangiapane has looked great this road trip. You know, they've played 2 games, and since the game against the Flyers last week, he has been looking better. He looks more comfortable, and he's scored a goal. Like, he had that 3-point night and then decided to take it to the next level. And it's just great to see. And same thing with Huberdeau. I know that people are going to say, well, he's not always finding the score sheet. He is still helping set up plays and move the puck, especially on the power play, which is kind of the issue in some ways, because the Flames just don't move. They just pass. Like a little game of catch sometimes, but I did not expect them to have 3 straight wins, right at this point in the week, I guess. I think that, you know, they are performing well. They are playing like a better team, better than they have this season. And I don't expect them to consistently put up 6 goals, especially against a good team with a great goaltender. Really, we see them bring offense in these last 2 games. Earlier today, I saw something pop up in my memories, and it was a video of the podcast from a year ago today where I was complaining about the Flames power play. The power play was performing at a 19%, and I was complaining about how below league average it was and how not good it was. The Flames power play as of this morning is a 12.4%. A 19 would be fantastic, and that would actually put the Flames right where they belong, in the middle of the group in terms of power play rankings. That was this season, instead of second worst. So I guess technically third, because they're third worst. But I mean, at least their penalty kill is still good. They've got one thing going for them right on special teams. I wish that they were performing better, but at the same time, can't please them all. Coming up next, we are going to talk about the game against Chicago and how the Flames can avoid another disaster against the Blackhawks. But before we do that, we are going to take a quick break here, and I'm going to talk to you about FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there is still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like same game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, and that is the best way to find popular parlays and more. If you are like me, you just bet the over and hope for the best. That's just kind of the way to do it. So visit fanduel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed and following the podcast wherever you get your shows. This has been such a fun start to the year, mainly because the Flames have won a few games. And it's great to see them start the year out on the road and look like a better team. And hopefully this is something that carries over and isn't just another flash in the pan sort of deal. This game against Chicago is, again, Sunday afternoon, rather. It's an 1 o'clock game 1 o'clock Mountain Time, and then tomorrow's game against Philly is 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So you got some earlier games, which is nice. It's a great way to kind of break up your weekend and enjoy yourselves. I hate to rain on your parade. The Flames lost all 3 matchups against Chicago last year, and this is something that I will never get over from last season. This is one of the many things that I will never forget about last season, just because of how simple it should have been to beat them. And it was never it shouldn't have been as tall of a task as it was. And I don't expect the Flames to have like a clean sweep of this road trip, but I do expect that they beat at least the Blackhawks. I mean, just before I started recording this, Connor Bedard looked like he got possible concussion. It didn't look too great, and obviously wishing him nothing but the best. But maybe the Flames luck out and they rest him on Sunday, because why not? Why give the kid a day off? It's okay. There's got to be some sort of child labor laws on his side, right? Chicago's just bad. Chicago is just bad. 2-7-1 in their last 10. Definitely not good. Certainly not great. Definitely bad. And you can't argue with that. You can't sit here and tell me that, oh, Chicago, they're turning things around. No, they're not. Their roster is injured. Their goaltending is questionable. They're questionable, and really just feels like Connor Bedard is the only bright spot there. I hope and pray for everyone that is rooting for this team to make the playoffs that they win. The Flames have to beat bad teams, because every single point matters. You can't leave anything on the table. You just can't. Right now, the Wild are slipping out of the wild card picture, and this is the perfect time for the Flames to make up ground. They lost 6 in a row early in the season, so it was super easy for them to just fall behind. And they are finally playing above 500 hockey for the first time since mid-October. So it was quite a bit, just kind of trailing from behind. And if there's one thing the Flames are going to do, it's make you wait until game 82 to see if you're going to be at the Dome for a playoff game. They just can't afford to play down 2 bad teams. And I say this specifically about Chicago because that's exactly what they did last season. It was just kind of like oh, it's okay. Like, we'll just show up. It's just Chicago. Who cares? Just 60 minutes out on the ice. There is no room for silly, goofy penalties. None of this nonsense high sticking. None of this holding, hooking. If you shove someone, you shove someone because you're standing up for your teammate. I'm not going to sit here and dock you for that. But if it's unprovoked, maybe. Zadorov is gone. There is no reason for the Flames to be on the penalty kill as often as they have been. Granted, it's allowed them to pad the stats of having a top 5 penalty kill. It's just not great. You just need to figure out a way to play disciplined hockey. And Mangiapane and Blake Coleman are very consistent offenders when it comes to taking those penalties, because they let those sticks fly. And now they're on the same line. Like, it's decisions. And I'm hopeful that the Flames continue to build off of this momentum. And I understand that it's not something that is completely sustainable for any team, but especially a team like the Flames that has such a inconsistent track record, because there are days where it's like this team is going to have that top 10 draft pick and they're going to do the thing. And then other times you're like, oh, this team could like maybe win a playoff round. Not very often. That does not happen very often, but like sometimes you put on the rose-colored glasses for like 60 minutes and it's like, oh my God, this team is so good. But they're never going to figure it out if they keep going down this road of like what we're doing right now. Oh, they win 3 in a row. Okay, things are good. And then they go lose like 2 or 3, and then they lose, they win 1, lose 1. Like there's all this bouncing around. I'm not saying you have to win 10 in a row in order to be a good team, but you have to have some sort of stability. Like I know when the Rangers go out on the ice, they're more than likely going to win. I know when Vegas goes out on the ice, probably going to win. I know when, Buffalo goes out on the ice, they're probably going to lose. The Flames, you don't know what you're getting. And like, obviously, it truly is a 50-50 chance regardless, but you should have a little bit of confidence in your team. And I don't have for the long term, especially, talking about how they played against Chicago last season. And then they just beat Nashville, who's in a playoff spot. So, and it's not like they played it was just like a 2-1 game where they had to fight and battle and truly hold a lead. They they won 6-3. They got how many goals past UC Saros in before he got pulled? And then that is a top 5 goaltender. That is your Vezina candidate. That is your Vezina trophy winner, UC Saros. And to walk Roman Josi like a dog and this is what's so frustrating, because they can play like that elite level of hockey and hang with the big guys, but then on Sunday they're going to go out and just look like they have never played an organized game of hockey together before. And it's definitely better than it was last year, because last year it just felt like no one talked to each other outside of the locker room. And when they did talk in the locker room, it was like 3 words. It was not like it didn't feel like there were relationships. There absolutely were, but just the way that it looked on ice made it feel like there was a very big disconnect. And we're not seeing that as much this season. We saw it at first, smoothed out. And I think that the Zari, Kadri, and Pospisil line has had a big impact on that. And it's gotten the other lines going. And so be it. We will take what we can get. And we hope that the Flames just walk away. You're either hoping they lose every game in the month of January and Huberdeau does not see another point until like March, or you're hoping that Mangiapane is about to go on like a 9-10 game goal streak. Huberdeau gets his point streak going. Dylan Dubé knows what he's doing. Like that top line is doing great things. Like you're just hoping for the most extreme on either side. And I'm just here to talk about this team on a daily basis and support all of your emotional needs because we're fans and it's hard being stuck in the middle. I get it. So I hope you're enjoying the show, enjoying the season, and we are going to talk about the winners and the losers of the week coming up right after this. And with that, regardless of where the Flames are in the current standings, I want to remind you that you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like McDavid, McKinnon, Ovechkin, Crosby, Makar, whoever it may be, will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. To win a 100 times bet on Sleeper, you just need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Flames fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That is code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on X at Jess Friday, winner and losers of the week. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. This is where I get to project my pop culture feelings, or really, we name winners and losers of the week, and they can be sports related, pop culture related. The guy at the gas station that cut you off and then you couldn't get the good pump, the guy that paid for your coffee in front of you. Like, winners and losers of the week is very broad. But today, I have a very special winner, and that is everybody's favorite Calgary Flame defenseman, Oliver Kylington. Oliver Kylington has been assigned to the Wranglers for a conditioning stint. This is a huge step for Kylington. For those of you who may be new, Oliver Kylington missed all of last season he took time away from the team to take care of his mental health. And he talked a lot about it. He talked about it a bit in interview with back home in Sweden, and just about how scary it was for him to deal with the thoughts and the emotions he was feeling, and he was very vulnerable. And he made it really clear that he needed the help, and that's fantastic. I mean, I'm very sorry you needed help, but it's great that he recognized it and was able to be proactive and take care of it. And I think that that's a great reminder for everyone that, number one, mental health does not discriminate. You can clearly be playing your dream job and being in the NHL and still battle demons, but it's still so important to take care of those and take care of your brain the same way you would a broken arm or diabetes, whatever you may have. And we are so grateful and happy and encouraging. It really is encouraging to see Kylington return, because he was cleared, quote unquote cleared, to play hockey at the start of the season. I say quote unquote because I don't think he necessarily had to be cleared by anyone but himself. And it was his decision to, again, step away from the game for a little bit. And that takes a lot of self-awareness and the ability to know your limits, I guess, because he wasn't ready to return. And you know what? It's January. It's not like it was just 2 or 3 weeks. It's pretty much the halfway point in the season. And I'm so excited to see him with the Wranglers. If you're in Calgary, go to the Dome and give Oliver a big standing ovation when his name gets called. And it's just an important reminder for everyone to take care of yourself. And my losers of the week are Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee, because what are we doing? Just completely idiotic bro behavior. I think that we are all better than this, and maybe we should start supporting independent creators a little bit more, because there's only so much people can kind of take when it comes to that. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend, no matter what you're doing. Stay safe, stay warm, stay dry. Don't forget your chapstick or some lotion. And I will see you on Monday when we recap the Flames weekend and they head back home.